Hi, this is Dan Fleming from Dan's Mark Software Solutions and New Millennium Railings. This is a demo of my drawing to list converter, and we're going to convert this detail into programming code, into AutoLisp code. We'll initiate the program. It explains a little bit about the O-snaps. Here we're going to call out a function. This is where you call out all your functions. So we're going to put in left underscore truss. And now we've started a new function. We're going to do a brand new one. We're going to add, we're going to start, and we're going to pick this entity right here because we want to start here and go counterclockwise. We're going to pick that point. We're going to add, use the same starting point, which would be the same point on that other one that we just picked as the starting point. And then we'll pick the entities in the order that we want those to be drawn, just like you were drawing those. Now we're going to add, and we're going to start a new point. So we're going to pick this entity, and we're going to pick a point right here. We're going to add, and then start a new point. So we'll pick these 2 points here, and we'll map them from there. We'll add another one, start a new point, and we'll pick this point as the starting point. We'll add, pick a new point. We're going to zoom back out just a little bit because we want to go to the other side, and then we're going to say we're finished. Now we're just going to change the L to an R and say it's a right truss. We're going to add, it's going to be a new starting point, and we're going to pick this point. And where do we want to map that from? We want to map that from that point right there. Okay. Now we're going to add more, and we're going to pick another starting point. But this time we're going to add these items in the order that you want those drawn. And we're going to come back and call them from this starting point. Now we want to add new starting point, add a new starting point. We'll pick that item and that item, and we'll map them from there. Add, start, add, start, and we'll zoom back out just a little bit, and now we're going to say finished. Now we're going to type in m underscore frame for main frame. So we're going to add, and we're going to make a new starting point. We're going to pick this item, but we're going to map it from the end point right here. That's where we want to map that from. Now we're going to add some more items, and we want another starting point. So let's go ahead and pick these items here, 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 and here, and we want to map those from this point. Now we're going to add some more, add another starting point. So let's come back over here and grab these, and we're going to map those from that point on the other side. Okay, that's the other part of that angle. That's where we want to map that to, because in the field they're going to give us a measurement from that point to this point right over here where my crosshairs are at. So now we can say, okay, we're finished. Now we're going to say just frame. That was main frame. Now this is the actual inside part of the frame. We can even type in iframe, I underscore frame for inside frame. Now we're going to add, and it's going to be a new starting point, and we're going to pick this item. Let's go ahead and pick it from this point here, that center line, because that center line is basically going to tell us where we're going to actually put that item. Let's do another one. We're going to add. Keep the same. No, let's go ahead and start a new point, because we want to pick this point. Excuse me, that line and that line, and we're going to map it back to the corner of this angle right here. Now we're going to add some more and use the same let's do a new starting point. We'll go ahead and do a new one. And we're going to map that from, well, we should have stayed right there where we were at, because if it's a 12-inch opening, all we have to do is make sure it's 12 inches right there. Or change that to a user specified distance. So now that we have all of our main items, we're going to say we're finished. Now let's put in dim for dimension. Now let's add our elevation. So we're going to add, and it's going to be a new point. So we're going to pick the items that we want, and we're going to map those from the end of that point that we have, our middle point. Now let's go ahead and add some more from that same, well, we don't want it from that same starting point. Let's do a new starting point. We're going to pick this item, this item, this item, that one, that one, that one, in the order that we want those to be shown, and we'll go ahead and pick that one, and we're going to map it from there. Let's add and start. So we'll pick this one, we'll pick the bottom, the top, this one, this one, and that one, and we're going to map those from that point. Let's go ahead and do a new one. Add more, start. So we're going to pick the items that we want in the order that we want those to be drawn, and then we'll pick this point, then that point, and we'll pick that point and that, or that item and that item, and we're going to map those from that point. Let's add more, start, in the order that you want those drawn, and then we'll pick this and this, and we're going to map those from the end of that angle. Now we have all of our pieces in there. Let's go ahead and put our dimensions in there. So we're going to add, start, and it's just telling me I'm stopping here because there's a few things that I was checking in the code, and it's mapping those out. It's finding those points, so I didn't have to tell it a starting point because it knew it was a dimension, and it knew that it had to search through the database of all the points that we had just put in there. So it basically keeps track of every point, every start and end point of every line, arc, and circle in this database, or in this drawing, and searches out to where those dimensions are actually supposed to be at, and it places them in there. But anyway, let's say now we're finished and we're going to finalize. We have 235 entities, and let's go back and take a look at what we've done. So I want to get rid of these. Find. Now I'm going to just get rid of those excuse me, I want to get rid of these two here and those three there. Find next, and just get rid of the nils. So I've got a few of those in here I need to get rid of. You don't have to get rid of them, but I like to. It's not going to hurt the code one bit, because basically it's just a nil means nothing. That's what it means. So now we're going to go ahead and load up our code, and we'll type in the code command, which is called run code, and see if it will draw our drawing for us. Now I'm going to draw a line from this point, that's our main starting point, up here, and then I'm going to erase everything. Okay, and leave that point there. And let's just take a look and see what we got. Turn my O-snap off, and I'm going to type in run code, and I'm going to pick that starting point that we done to begin with, and there's our whole drawing. Now it's got a couple of little things that it did incorrectly, but it's easily fixed inside of our code. We have a detail that we've converted into AutoList code, and now we can add some user get function. In other words, get a real number, or get an integer, or get a string, and we can add some things for our angles in here. So in other words, we can tell it you know, our angle's 2 inches by 1/4 inch thickness, and we can add those variables into there, and now we can change our angles to any size that we want. You know, it's in code form now, so you can basically automate the whole portion of that code so that you can use any size truss, any size of angles, the spacings on the frame, on this I-frame or the duct frame, and you can change these variables to anything you want. Now there's, like I say, there's a couple little things that it has done wrong, but all in all it does a very good job. Now let's see how many lines of code that we actually have. So we're at the very bottom here, which is at this point right here. We've got 1,857 lines of code. It'd take you maybe a day to write that much code if you're quick and know exactly what you're doing. Also, it created a main function. This is the main function. It also set some variables, and then it reset those variables after it was done back to whatever they was to begin with, and then it executes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions. So there's 5 different functions it created. Then it created a master function to run all the minor functions, and you can do almost anything you want to with it. I mean, each one of these points, like this is a point here, it has an X, a Y, and a Z factor. So yes, you can do 3D with this drawing to list converter too. I have some videos on my website that show some 3D items that are drawn perpendicular to XY planes. In other words, it has Z factor to it, and it does a darn good job of it. So drawing to list converter, it will help you get all your code wrote quickly. Contact Dan at dansmarkdotcom for more information. Thanks.